There's a type of person who ends up alone, and it's not because they're broken, weird, or unlikable. It's because of something far more uncomfortable, something psychologists have known for decades but rarely talk about publicly. If you've ever felt like friendships just don't stick for you, people drift away no matter how hard you try, or like you're somehow always on the outside looking in, this isn't about social skills or bad luck. There's a psychological pattern at work, one that starts forming in childhood and quietly shapes who stays in your life and who doesn't. And here's the part most people never realize. The traits that isolate you are often the same traits that make you see the world more clearly than everyone else. What you're about to learn won't just explain why this happened, it'll completely reframe what it means. Most people navigate friendships through what's called adaptive self-presentation. They instinctively adjust their personality, their opinions, their energy to match whoever they're with. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny. They agree with perspectives they don't hold. They perform enthusiasm they don't feel. Not because they're fake, because their brain automatically calibrates social behavior for acceptance. Your brain doesn't do this, or at least not well. Studies on social cognition show that some people have significantly lower capacity for what's called strategic self-monitoring. You say what you actually think. You don't hide discomfort well. You can't fake interest in conversations that bore you. And here's what happens. People sense it. They can't articulate why, but something feels off. You're not performing the small scripts everyone else unconsciously follows. You don't mirror their energy. You don't validate their stories with the expected enthusiasm, so they interpret your authenticity as coldness, your honesty as judgment, your genuine reactions as rejection. And slowly, without drama, they drift away. This is why you can be kind, intelligent, interesting, and still end up isolated. Because modern friendship isn't built on authenticity, it's built on comfortable performance. And you refuse to perform. But here's where it gets deeper, and this is the piece that will actually make sense of your entire social history. You carry what psychologists call high cognitive need for meaning. Your brain is wired to seek substance, depth, and genuine connection in every interaction. Small talk doesn't just bore you, it actively drains you. Research on conversational preferences shows that people fall into two categories: those who bond through shared activity and light interaction, and those who bond through meaningful dialogue and emotional depth. Most people are the former. You're the latter. So here's what your friendships probably looked like. You'd meet someone, connect over something real, have a few deep conversations, and think, finally, someone who gets it. But then they'd want to hang out and just exist together. Watch TV, go shopping, talk about nothing. And you'd feel yourself withdrawing, not because you dislike them, but because your brain doesn't register surface-level interaction as connection. They'd interpret your withdrawal as rejection. You'd interpret their preference for lightness as superficiality. And the friendship would quietly die, both of you confused about what went wrong. The truth? Nothing went wrong. You were just operating in different languages of connection, and the world runs on theirs, not yours. Most friendships aren't equal. Someone cares more, someone reaches out more, someone compromises more. And most people accept this unconsciously because the benefits of having friends outweigh the discomfort of imbalance. But your brain doesn't work like that. Studies on relationship maintenance show that some people have a heightened sensitivity to perceived unfairness in social exchange. You notice when you're always the one initiating. You notice when conversations feel one-sided. You notice when effort isn't matched. And here's what you do that kills friendships. You pull back. You stop reaching out to see if they'll reach out to you. You test the relationship to see if it's real. And most of the time, they don't reach out. Not because they don't care, but because you are the relational glue, and without you initiating, the friendship just stops. Psychologists call this passive relationship dissolution. You don't end friendships dramatically. You just stop feeding them and they starve quietly. This is why you've probably had the thought, if I stopped reaching out, I'd have no one. And you're not wrong, but what you're missing is this. Most people are bad at initiating. It doesn't mean they don't value you. It means you were carrying the relationship, and when you stopped, they didn't notice it was their turn. Now here's what you need to understand. Every article, every therapist, every social skills guide will tell you the same thing. You need to change. Be more flexible. Lower your standards. Accept shallow connection. Perform better. But that's not the full picture. Because here's what research on social isolation also shows. People with low social masking, high need for depth, and sensitivity to relational imbalance score significantly higher on measures of authenticity, critical thinking, and long-term life satisfaction when they find their people. The problem isn't that you're doing friendship wrong. The problem is that you're trying to do it with people who speak a different language. You're not broken, you're just rare, and rare things don't fit easily into common spaces. The loneliness you feel isn't a bug in your personality. It's a feature of living in a world optimized for shallow abundance over deep scarcity. You're not failing at friendships. You're refusing to participate in the performance most people mistake for connection. So if you've spent years wondering why friendships never stick, why people drift, why you feel like you're always on the outside, this is why. Not because you're unlikable, not because you're broken, but because your brain is wired for something most people aren't offering. And that's not a flaw, that's discernment. Drop a comment if this finally made your social history make sense. And if you want more research-backed content that explains the parts of you everyone else misunderstands, hit subscribe. Because we're just getting started.